Assalamu alaikum. Good morning, my kids. In our last lesson, we discovered how traditions may change and affected by the place we live in. Today, we will learn how communicating traditions across different regions and countries also result in our tradition evolving. Let's think for a moment about our classroom. What are some similarities in the various cultures represented in our classroom? The cultural similarities in our class are: all wear a uniform, all value learning, all want to be successful, all live in the same community, and all include food in celebrations, even if the food isn't the same. Let's think again for a moment. What are the differences in culture represented in our class? The cultural differences in our class are being from different regions, having different family composition, as large or small families, families with all girls or families with all boys. Let's think now of our class as a community that has its own culture. What are some celebrations or traditions we have in our class? Wow, excellent! We respect each other. We respect different opinions. We learn together through conversations, sharing, and group work. Can you tell me other ways to have a positive class culture? We respect learning and don't disrupt. We cheer on each other, accept each other. Also, we celebrate success. We accept failure as part of learning. Also, we work hard and participate in class. All of these factors help us to have a positive class culture. So, of course, we build a positive class culture when we work together and encourage each other. Also, our community culture is based on all people working together in a community. Let's think now about some other areas. What are the main bodies of water in or near Egypt? Super! The major bodies of water are the Red Sea, the Nile River, the Mediterranean Sea, Lake Nasser, the Gulf of Suez, and the Gulf of Aqaba. Could you please think again, how can water become part of the culture in a place? Water becomes a part of culture as people are able to trade further away using boats. Also, people use water to create products such as clay pottery. They also use salt in water for spices. And they hold the celebrations related to water. This is how can water become part of the culture in a place. So, what about the desert? How do you think a culture in the desert is different? Actually, culture in the desert may be different as people clothing reflect ways to stay cool or safe in a sandstorm. Also, people may use sand in their products, or they may raise and rely on camels. Let's talk now about differences in other places as rural areas and large cities. In Egypt, some people live in rural areas and others live in large cities. But what are some ways culture in rural areas differs than in large cities. Cities may have museums, theaters, and other cultural arts centers that people can go to. Also in cities, clothing might be formal or office dress, while people in rural areas help each other with farming and ranching. Ranching means raising animals. Also, clothing may be informal and is suitable for working outdoors. Now, please open your book, page 177, to practice what we learned today, as we are going to research the culture in a region different from our town. Choose a region or city of Egypt, then work with your assigned group to conduct research and record notes in the organizer on what you learn. Here, I choose the city Aswan. The city I researched is Aswan. Let's learn about the clothing in Aswan. Men wear galabayas. What about the families in Aswan? Aswan includes many different families and tribes. Let's complete in the next page. What about the language and diversity? They have their Nubian language. They speak Nubian language. So what about their celebrations or events? The Miracle of the Sun Festival that is held twice a year at Abu Simbel, and people gather outside of the temple and celebrate with an elaborate mixture of song and dance. So they celebrate the Sun Festival twice a year at Abu Simbel. What about the traditions there? In Ramadan, children play with lanterns and adults go to Taraweeh prayers. Let's go to the next page. Compare the culture in the region you researched to the local culture. Record notes on similarities and differences below. Of course, our local culture is in our city, Cairo. We will compare Cairo with the culture in Aswan, which is the city we researched. In my city, Cairo, men wear trousers and shirts, while in Aswan, men wear galabayas. So this is one difference between Cairo and Aswan. Point 2, in my city, there are many different families. In Aswan, there are many different families too. So this is one similarity between the two cities. Let's read number 3. In my city, we all speak the same language, while in Aswan, there are different languages. The last point, in my city, people used to go to Taraweeh prayers, and in Aswan too. This is another similarity between our city and Aswan. Today, we researched, compared, and communicated about cultures throughout Egypt. Next time, inshallah, we will complete talking about culture and tradition. See you next lesson. Goodbye, and thank you for listening.